Good morning, and welcome to your daily Farm and Home Show, brought to you by the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. And now, here's your host. Good morning, and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna Coles, and this morning we're visiting with Kevin Lyons. He's the Monroe County Extension Agent for Agriculture and Natural Resources. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Joanna.
Well, I'm glad you're here today because you can hardly pick up a magazine without some mention of hemp. And hemp has been a big deal in Kentucky, but there's a lot of other states that are growing it, but I think it's a crop that might not be new, but we're starting to relearn again.
We are. It's the little saying I hear a lot, and I think it's very true. It's an old crop that's new again. You know, back in the 30s and the 40s, Kentucky was the #1 hemp producing state in the United States, and after World War II, that kind of changed, and but now it's back again with the passage of the Farm Bill back in December of 18. It became legal to grow industrial hemp all across the United States, and now I think they've even taken the word industrial out, so we just talk about hemp now.
And you know, a lot of people are confused about exactly what it's used for, but there are several different uses for hemp.
There's pretty much 3 different varieties of hemp. I kind of always equate it to corn or any other plant. You know, we have sweet corn that's shorter but has a more robust ear. And we have field corn that has, maybe for silage, it's taller with not maybe has a couple of ears on it, but so hemp is exactly the same. There's different varieties of those plants, and the 3 main varieties are growing it for the CBD oil, growing it for the fiber, or growing it for the seed. Those are kind of the 3 categories that will all fall into. By far and away, the biggest majority of the hemp is being grown for the CBD. I think it's pushing 90% of the acres that were planted in Kentucky were the CBD varieties.
Okay, and our acreage in Kentucky has increased each and every year.
It has. I think this year they had permits for about a little over 60,000 acres. They think it's going to be about somewhere around the 24,000, 25,000 acres that were planted and going to be able to harvest those. So had more permits than was actually planted, but that's usually the case.
And it's one of those crops where, you know, we've raised it in the past, but technology's better, our equipment's better, and so it is a relearning process.
It is. It's new to everybody, pretty much. I mean, it's been in the research phase, I think, since probably 2014, but when it became, you know, legal to grow it and sell those products, it got a lot of interest a year ago. In this past growing year, the 2019 growing year, we saw a boom in the number of acres planted, and we saw kind of a boom in the challenges come along with it as well. But we're working through those, but it is, it's been around, but it's making a comeback, but we're starting to see some of the growing pains to kind of come to the forefront.
And I think Kentucky's probably positioned itself better than some of the other states that are grazing hemp, because some of those articles that you read, they're having marketing disasters. They don't have the processing facilities. But in Kentucky, we actually are ahead of that game. We do have some of that infrastructure in place.
We do, but you know, like up in the Northwest, you see big acres in Oregon, Washington State, that corner of the country, and they don't have the amount of infrastructure that we have. But they've been doing some things in the past that will help them catch up. But in Kentucky, we have a little farther ahead system on our processors, but our infrastructure isn't perfect by any means, and some of our growers are experiencing a little bit of difficulty finding a market. We had folks that, you know, kind of just jumped in head first, just to be perfectly honest, and went for it, and maybe they did that without a contract or a good place to go with it. A lot of them had contracts, but that's where we're starting to see a lot of the problems is they can't find a home for what they were growing.
Yeah, because, you know, one of the things I've always said is Kentucky growers can grow just about anything.
Oh, yeah, we're good at producing things, but sometimes you got to make sure that market is, and that's just part of the growing curve and the learning curve. You know, you just work through those situations, and I think most people understand that, but it's a little tough when you're actually in that game and going through those challenges. It can be very tough.
And the Department of Agriculture, they're in charge of kind of the regulatory and the taking of the applications, and you know, they've made adjustments throughout the process as well.
They put their application online. In the past, I think it's been a paper application, and it was pretty bulky and lengthy, and it's got a little more streamlined. And So yeah, everything goes through the KDA as far as the application for the permit.
All right, Kevin, we'll appreciate you talking about this today. We're going to continue our conversation tomorrow about hemp, and so appreciate you being here with us.
Absolutely.
If you have any questions, make sure to contact your local extension office. Thanks for watching and have a great day. And now, here's your host. Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna, and this morning we're visiting with Kevin Lyons. He's the Monroe County Extension Agent for Agriculture and Natural Resources. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Joanna.
Now, Kevin, the other day we started talking a little bit about hemp and kind of the foothold that it has in Kentucky. But I think one of the resistance that we had to getting hemp started in the state was the confusion between hemp and marijuana. Is it the same thing?
It is not the same thing, but you're exactly right. I think there was a lot of concern among citizens, among law enforcement, among legislators, and it just takes a while to educate and people to get comfortable with the differences, but they are totally different. You cannot tell the difference in hemp and marijuana just by looking at it. They look pretty much exactly the same, and we've heard that over and over, but the difference is in the testing. If you have hemp, it cannot be, most of it, not all of it, will have at least a trace of THC in it at some point. But it can't be over 0.3%. That's 0.3%. That's the cutoff of the THC level for it to still be hemp. Once it goes above that, and KDA does their testing on it, that can cause some issues, and you may wind up having to destroy that. But that's a case-by-case basis. But that's the cutoff, the 0.3%. Below that, on THC level, it can still be hemp. Above that, whether you grew it as hemp, they're going to call it marijuana, and it's going to enter a different area there that you'll have to figure out what you're going to do. Sometimes that's not a good answer for the farmer.
Absolutely, and every hemp field before harvested has to be tested, right?
It does. They're supposed to contact, and this is all part of the application process that we talked about a little earlier. You have to map your fields. You have to get approved for a permit. You're either a grower, a licensed a broker, or a licensed processor. Those are the three categories. So on the grower side, you have to contact them approximately 2 weeks before you're going to harvest. They come out, they take the samples right there in the field, they do the testing, and sometimes that's where the issues come in with the high THC levels. And
you brought up another point that I wanted to mention, because when it did get passed in the Farm Bill, people came to the office and say, it's legal now. I can grow as much as I want, I can transport, I can process, I can sell, but that's still not the case in Kentucky. You still have to have a permit to do any of those things.
Technically, when they say that, they may be correct, but doesn't mean it's legally correct. You still have to go through the permitting process at KDA, whether you're a grower, whether you're a processor, or whether you're a broker, and you still have to follow all those rules that they have in that application. It all still applies. All the Farm Bill really did was take the hemp off of the narcotics list, and it moved it into the legal list for people to grow. That's really the biggest change, and right now that's probably the main change that people are worried about. Everything else is still in place. In Kentucky.
And right now, they're taking applications online. People have until March 15th, and they might think, oh, well, I've got plenty of time. Yeah. But it's a lengthy process.
It can be a lengthy process. We always say two main things on the application. Don't wait till the last minute. And on the growing part, don't invest more than you're willing or able to lose, because unfortunately, some folks are running into that. So just be aware of those two main things. But on the application, give yourself plenty of time to get it completed. I think it's by March the 15th for all three categories.
And it is online this year, and we have a graphic there that has the Kentucky Department of Agriculture's website that you can go to, and it has a lot of good information there.
It does, very much. You can find they have it broken out by different categories. You can search for the people that might be interested in buying your hemp. There's lists for processors, there's lists for the brokers, there's lists for seed and clone suppliers. It's not a all-inclusive list, but it's a good place to start. And also you can do a internet search for UK Hemp Research Program, and UK has a great web page for the research publications and those type things. They're separate, but they're both great resources.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I tell people who come into my office is talk to another hemp grower, because they've went through the challenges and they probably know firsthand and maybe be able to give you some good advice.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, a good example is if it's too good to be true, maybe it is. On the contract, have your attorney look at your contract.
Absolutely. Good advice. Thanks, Kevin, for being here with us today. And if you have any questions about the production of hemp, make sure to give your local extension office a call. Thanks for watching and have a great day. If you have questions about today's topic, please call the Warren County Extension Office at the number on your screen. Thanks for watching and have a great day.